Now to the newest candidate for president, Maryland's Martin O'Malley. He launched his challenge to Hillary Clinton in Baltimore yesterday. The former mayor and governor starts out as a long shot, but as he told me right after the kickoff speech, he believes many Democrats are looking for a fresh candidate.
I declare that I am a candidate for president of the United States.
Why you? Why now?
Because I believe our country's facing some very deep challenges, and I believe that we're not going to overcome our problems without new leadership. So what I offer in this race, George, is 15 years of executive experience, accomplishing difficult things and bringing people together to get them done. And the most difficult challenge we face right now is restoring the truth of the American dream that we share, making wages go up and making our country work again and our economy work for all of our people.
We've had Democratic presidents 16 of the last 24 years. How would a Martin O'Malley presidency be different from Bill Clinton's, different from Barack Obama's?
Because of President Obama's choices, we were able to avoid a second Great Depression, but the work remains when 70% of us are earning the same or less than we were 12 years ago. So I guess I differ, I would say, from President Obama in my background and my experience. His was that of a legislator. Mine was of a big city and also facing difficult challenges, and also of a state that we had to lead through the recession. And that's a big difference with his experience.
Also could be a double-edged sword. You know, everyone's been focused on the issues in Baltimore coming out of the recent unrest. And you were mayor of Baltimore for 8 years, big drop in crime, but a lot of your critics say your tenure also sowed the seeds of distrust between the police and the community. I was struck by something the former head of the Baltimore NAACP told the Baltimore Sun. He said, Martin O'Malley is going around Baltimore as his claim to fame. I think this should be his greatest embarrassment.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? For all of the progress that we make, there's always so much more that needs to be done. I would not have been elected with 91% of the vote the first time, or re-elected 4 years later with 88% of the vote, if we were not making substantial progress. When I was elected in 1999, George, our city had become the most violent and addicted and abandoned city in America. It was a huge challenge, but we went on in the next 10 years to achieve the biggest reduction of Part 1 crime of any city in America, and now the city's population is growing again with greater numbers of young people moving back here than before. But it's also true that we have huge pockets of poverty in our city and in other cities in the United States. And the anger that erupted in our city happened in some of the poorest, hardest hit neighborhoods where unemployment's actually higher now than it was 7 years ago. I'd be angry too. The poet once wrote that the unemployment in our bones erupts in our hands in stones. We can do better as a country, and we can't leave behind so many that are underemployed or unemployed or earning less than they were 12 years ago.
In your speech today, you had some tough words for Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton.
The CEO of Goldman Sachs let his employees know that he'd be just fine with either Bush or Clinton. I bet he would. Well, I've got news for the bullies of Wall Street. The presidency is not a crown to be passed back and forth by you between two royal families.
Are you saying that both Bush and Clinton are beholden to the bullies of Wall Street?
I'm saying that what we need new leadership to accomplish is to actually rein in excesses on Wall Street. And when you have somebody that's the CEO of one of the biggest repeat and offending investment banks in the country telling his employees that he'd be fine with either Bush or Clinton, that should tell all of us something.
You don't see a difference?
Do I see a difference? Sure, I see many differences. But one of the most important differences when it comes to reining in Wall Street is who's on our side. I have the independence. I have the track record.
You think Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush would have the same approach to Wall Street?
I don't know what Secretary Clinton's approach to Wall Street might be. She will run her own campaign and I will run mine. I can tell you this, I am not beholden to Wall Street interests. There are not Wall Street CEOs banging down my door and trying to participate or help my campaign.
One more difference, the president's controversial Pacific Trade Agreement. O'Malley staked his claim. Clinton has not weighed in. You think she's going to be for it?
Oh, she's been awfully silent, but I'm sure she'll come out with a position in her own time. I have not been silent. I'm opposed to it. we shouldn't be in a race to the bottom for the cheapest labor in the world. That diminishes us as a people, and it hurts our economy.
Secretary Clinton also facing questions about her email account, about the foundation. Is that something voters should be worried about?
She's capable of defending herself. She has had a very noteworthy career of public service and service to our country. So I think we should focus on the ideas.
President Obama had some fun at your expense at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Not to be outdone, Martin O'Malley kicked things off by going completely unrecognized at a Martin O'Malley campaign event.
I was there.
Well, you know, I don't know what your reaction to the joke was, but he's hitting on a real problem. You're at about 1% in the polls right now.
I've been there before.
Sketch out a path to victory.
Look, I think the presidential primary process and the caucuses in Iowa have a certain greatness to them, and it is this: that people there have seen 1% candidates before get into the van, go from county to county to county, make their case about their better choices that they would offer the nation, and suddenly become very well known overnight when people make up their mind.
How are you even going to get into the pole position right now? I mean, Bernie Sanders, taking out a lot of the same progressive positions you have, has kind of shot up in both the national polls and Iowa and New Hampshire the last few weeks. That's a challenge to your candidacy.
Well, I think it's an encouragement to my candidacy, and for this reason. I think that the public is looking for new leadership. Leadership that doesn't apologize for having progressive values.
Why should progressive voters pick you over Bernie Sanders?
Because I have a track record of actually getting things done, not just talking about things.
And you're heading to Iowa now?
Heading to Iowa now, and then to New Hampshire.
Governor, thanks for coming on.
George, thank you.